Listen, Saquon's done everything we've asked him to do, and he's a good football player. Again, the positional value, we'll get into how we want to build this team and allocate our resources, and that's what it comes down to. So again, he's a good football player. He was durable for this year. He played well, and again, he's a guy that we'd like to have back.
Joe, how do you view your cap, Joe? In terms of the cap, would you like to do something to lower Leonard Williams' cap number?
We haven't discussed that yet. I like his quote yesterday. I just saw that before I came down here, that he'd be interested in taking a pay cut. You guys did a good job on that. Whoever asked him that. He didn't mention that in the exit interview with us, but.
You redid the deal, and the numbers are really high. So it's not like you have no cap space, but what's your comfort level with a number that high, just in general?
Yeah, we'll talk about that again. Like, there's several options that we got to go through the entire roster. We have a lot of UFAs. We have guys that, are good players that have, contracts on the horizon. So that's all part of the planning that we'll go through. And again, we just got to, talk about how we want to divvy it up and prioritize different areas. And if we need to open up money, we won't rule that out.
Ron, I have a couple for you. Joe just said we may not have been the most talented, but we were a team, right? Do you now look ahead after your first year and think, okay, now we are one of the more talented teams, we can do a lot more with this?
Me, I take it day by day. I think it's year by year. Every team is different. Just because you won one year doesn't guarantee you anything the next year relative to what players you have, what players you don't have. I mean, you take a look at the 2000 and last year's playoffs, I think 7 of them didn't make the playoffs the following year. The 2 top seeds had losing records. So I think what our goal will always be just get better each day, try to put the best team we can together, work at it each day, not to get too far ahead of ourselves. I appreciate, like Joe said, all the people that had a hand in this year. Obviously didn't end up where we wanted to end up, but it took a lot of work, it took a lot of energy, it took a lot of people in all areas of our building. So that's, off-season starts, started the day after, we lost, unfortunately, but that's where we're at, and do the best job we can of building up our team the best way we can, our organization, and then going out there and taking it day by day.
And Joe said that, he wants Daniel back. Obviously you guys have talked about this a lot. Why do you want Daniel back, and why do you think he can take this team, get another trophy with this, if you do think he can?
Yeah, I've said it all year. He's done everything that we've asked him to do as an offensive staff, and he's done a really good job with operating and executing our offense. I think he's made strides in a lot of different areas. Certainly we can all make strides and more, but he's been a good leader for us. He's played the quarterback position well for us, and I'm happy we had him.
Joe, how much does it change? Joe, how much does it change everything in regards to team building that you have a quarterback, and assuming you're able to re-sign him, and you don't have to then at that point go find a quarterback or draft a quarterback, use those resources elsewhere?
Yeah, I don't think it really changes. I mean, it doesn't really change what we're going to do. We still got to draft well. We want to be in good cap health. We're in a unique situation that we have some players that are upcoming, that were drafted here previously before we came here that played well. So again, it just comes down to, how we want to divvy it up. Again, the money and the resources that we have along with the draft. Again, we're still trying to build this thing so we can sustain it. And again,
Hopefully you had to trade up and up to get Josh, right? So you had to put a lot of...
Yeah, every situation's different. I know you want to make the parallels with here in Buffalo. We made the playoffs the first year. I mean, every situation's unique and different, and there were different factors that played into that. And again, I think Daniel played well enough this year. We'd like to have him back, and again, we have some difficult off-season decisions to make, and how we're going to go about those. So I look forward to getting to work on that here, by the end of the week.
Joe, on Saquon, when you try to determine his financial value, how much do you factor in character and contribution to culture as opposed to talent when it comes to that evaluation?
Yeah, I mean, if that wasn't important, we probably wouldn't be approaching him. So that's kind of a starter for us. If you're a good teammate, you're a culture fit for how we want to do things, that's where we go to those players. But then we don't factor in it, when you're making comps, it's hard to put a value on that. I mean, that's important, but you can look at how many yards, touchdowns, Pro Bowls, games played, games missed. Those are more, markers that we can establish value on. But we wouldn't approach him or look to sign a guy if they didn't fit our culture, if we didn't think so.
How close were you with him?
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.